The next few days, I'm exploring a remote Aussie coastline, trying to dodge crocodiles like this one behind me, and following in the footsteps of the ultimate survival challenge.
You do not want to touch that right now.
See the patterns underneath his chin. Good chunk of meat there.
There we go, look at that.
G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Strick here, and if you're new here, I'm currently sailing up a remote Australian coastline with my girlfriend. You can watch the day-to-day stuff of that adventure play out on my second channel, Castaways with Strick and Fran. But on this channel, I'm going to the exact location of some of the craziest survival stories, and Fran has just flown out for a wedding, so I've got a week to myself, and I knew this was the location I had to get to. It's been a couple of big days sailing to get here, but man, I'm just so excited to be here because it really brings this story to life. This is probably one of my favorite stories of Australian survival. I cannot wait to share it all with you guys. I really hope you enjoy it. But for now, you can see that tide out behind me is actually really high, which is perfect to try and get some food sorted. If I can get some food sorted now, man, it'll take the pressure off. So let's do that. I'll share this story as we go. So on these survival challenges I try and use similar equipment to what they would have been equipped with. And this here is a spear, and it's going to be propelled by what's called a woomera here in Australia, but this is, I believe, called an atlas in other parts of America and around the world. And the whole idea is that if I was just to throw this spear just with my arm, you can only get a certain amount of power, but someone who's very good at it, not me, you'll come to realize that the Aboriginal people, they would be able to throw it with a hell of a lot more force and accuracy using one of these. I'm going to need a bit of practice, but let's see how we go. Actually, a little bit later on in this story, spears very similar to this play a big part, I suppose, in how it all ends up. Oh, huge salmon coming this way. There's a huge fish coming this way, right in the shallows. No, man, I couldn't believe my eyes. That was such a poor shot. I was too excited and nervous. I wasn't even really starting to look yet. It was a big salmon. He gave me a shot. I just blatantly missed. I can't believe that, but let's keep going around and see what other opportunities we get. They were just little whiting, those ones, but they would have been tasty. So on the menu today, we are really looking for anything, but in the shallows here, obviously any fish that are in nice and shallow enough. But the thing with the fish, if they're shallow enough for us to get them, then they're also adapted to have incredibly good eyesight, not only underwater, but from predators up above. So they've got to dodge seagulls and stuff like that. So you do have to be quite sneaky to get a shot at them. Other things are potentially stingrays or sharks. I've actually seen a few sharks cruising along the outside, and even mud crabs potentially around this area. So I can't be too fussy. Let's try our luck. I think that shovel nose was attacking that shark. There we go, got him. We're on the board now, guys. This is a shovel nose ray, and I think he was actually having a fight with that little crab in the shallows that then sort of retreated to shallower water. And I know the Aboriginal people back in the day, they used to take the approach of just kind of chip away at whatever food they could get whenever they could get it. So I'm gonna go for a similar approach today. Shovel nose ray, pretty good start, hey? Nice. You see that? This is that little crab that's just been... That was the one the shovel nose was chasing after. He's a little bit too small for me. Of course, even though I'm trying to get a feed, I've got to abide by the rules here. And that crab was undersized. Hold on a second. This here is a crocodile track, guys. Only a little one. Let's see his tail slide. He's been sitting up here behind the mangroves. That's the scary thing. As I'm walking through here, I'm looking down for the fish, but there's potentially bigger crocodiles sitting on the bank like this. If I'm looking this way, they can blindside me and hit me into the water. So I do really have to sort of check both sides before walking through. Look at some big fish there. Oh, there's one there. Oh no. Oh. There's a little crab. So, story time. The year is 1848 and 13 men, which make up an exploration party, have just been dropped at a place called Rockingham Bay. Their mission? To explore the northern part of Australia. They're to go up the east coast of Australia before reaching the very tip, just up here, where they'll meet a supply vessel which will then resupply them, and they'll come back down the west coast. Easy, nothing to it. But this mission is set to become one of the biggest disasters in early Australian exploration. And I don't reckon it would have taken them too long until they sort of realised their fate. They'd been dropped ashore not only with the 13 men, led by a bloke by the name of Edmund Kennedy, but with them was 100 sheep, 28 horses, horse and carriages, a whole bunch of dogs, kilos and kilos of flour, water, salt, and everything someone would need to survive in a European world back in 1848. But where they'd been dropped is just rainforest, some of the most dense, thickest rainforest in the world, coming right down onto the beach. Basically, it's no place for sheep, it's no place for horse and carriage. They were having to cut their own road through this dense rainforest so badly that after 10 weeks, they had only progressed 18 kilometers. And it was at this point they started to realize it might not be as easy as they thought it was going to be. Now, guys, fast forward 8 months later, and the most unlikely of heroes stumbles out onto this beach here, quote, looking more dead than alive. His name was Jackie, and he was on board this expedition as a local Indigenous tracker. And his role would be to help out with some bush tucker and that type of thing, but also to help navigate as they went further north, if they came in contact with any other Indigenous Australian tribes. So you know how it starts, you know briefly how it ends, but in between it just gets crazier and crazier. So I'll fill out the rest of that story as we go. That was amazing, hey? Well, I've sort of worked out a good tactic. If I walk in amongst all the vertical mangrove trees, it seems the animals can't really tell the difference between me and that and the mangrove, so it's like a pretty good way to camouflage myself. I got so close to those shovel-nosed rays, they don't even kind of see me, and there's like 3, 4, 5, 6 at a time there, but they're a little bit small, those ones, and I think I had about 4 shots at this poor little mangrove jack, missed him every time, and I still don't think he knew what was going on. So it's just my aim is letting me down. I've got to work on that. Old rotten tree here. So there's certain species of moths. They lay their eggs in here. At their larval stage, they turn into a grub, a witchetty grub, before they then turn into a moth. And at that stage, when they're that witchetty grub, that's when you can actually eat them. It's a little bit of like a slug. And I was hoping in here somewhere we might have some bush tucker, but let's see how we go. I learnt this in the Mentawais with the people there, and it's a real delicacy. They just eat it straight like that in the sweaty rainforest. So it's something to it. They're a little bit better when they're fried up, but yeah, if you need food, whatever's going, no luck. Beautiful little flowers here. They're looking a bit sad come the end of the day, but they're all over this front of the beach. Definitely beautiful to look at, but probably the most beautiful thing about them is that they're edible. All the good vitamins you'll find in there. I think I actually got a bit of a bug that probably, oh yeah, look at all the little bugs coming out. Not sure if that will help or hinder my cause, but these little beach hibiscuses are actually beautiful and sweet, got all the right vitamins in it. So I know the Aboriginal people back in the day, they just were of the mindset you get what you can when you can. There's another little crocodile slide here actually. Let's see where he went. This is really exciting. Come check this out. So there's a source of fresh water there, but areas like that, man, absolutely terrifying. You see that dark black water that you can't really see through. This is absolute prime area for a big crocodile, because I tell you what, here you can see actually these are the diggings of the pigs in this area. And the pigs need to come in down to these swamps, and then generally the biggest, angriest, gnarliest crocodiles will live in a little section like that, and you just can't see them. So I've learnt the hard way with that before, and I'm not going to play around there too much longer. Not to mention the bloody mosquitoes, man, they're bad at the moment. So guys, breaking news, we have run into a huge problem. Up until this point, we've been fully reliant on the solar panels to charge up the portable power station, which allows us to edit and upload the videos for you. But now, coming into wet season, we just haven't been able to keep up. Pretty much a disaster for us on board here. But this Bluetti DC Charger 2 is going to be the savior for us. So a DC to DC charger allows you, while you're running your engine of either your car or your boat, to pull power out from that and also charge a Bluetti portable power station here. The Charger 2 has had a major upgrade since the previous Bluetti Charger 1 model. So this one has dual input charging capability, which can deliver up to 1200 watts combined from both your vehicle's alternator and solar panels. I'll show you how it works. Connect the Charger 2 to your starter battery, turn your engine on. One of the best things about this is it all runs through an app, so you can clearly see what's happening. Normally this power is just wasted. We don't capture any of it, but now it is coming through this DC Charger 2, and from there I've got it going into my portable power station. Of course, you can also plug your existing solar panel into that DC Charger 2. On the side here, I've got a DC power hub, and this just gives us more options. There's cigarette plugs, USB-A's and USB-C's to charge, making this the world's first alternator charger as a vehicle power gateway. So I'm only using a small 9.9 horsepower output engine, but running this off your vehicle, you're going to be pumping in a whole lot more power. And to best store this amount of power, I recommend pairing it with the new Elite 300, which is the most compact and newly released 3 kilowatt power station. The other really important feature is the reverse charging capability. So being able to emergency jumpstart your vehicle up to 800 watts of power and actually start your engine. If you scan that QR code on screen right now or click the link in our description, that's going to unlock that discount for you. And this little device has absolutely saved our backside here. It's going to keep the lights on, going to keep the episodes coming to you people on YouTube. I really hope some of you guys find it as useful as what we're about to. Cheers guys, enjoy. Bloody hell. So this is the remains of what was once a Japanese or Taiwanese fishing float. And the appeal of these is basically it was before plastic was invented. They used these glass buoys as floats. And then now the really keen beachcombers all around the world will find these washed in remote locations. But I've only ever found one complete one. So what a shame, hey? We almost got our hands on something pretty amazing here. You can see it's all smashed up there. There's another piece from it. Bugger, that is reassuring though. It means we're a chance at finding a full one. Thought that was a glass buoy for a second, but we'll keep looking. It's a very old glass. Almost at a bit of a dead end here. It's pretty tight going. You can see there's a bit of a hill behind me. I'm going to go up there and then see if there's anything better on the other side. Holy shit, look at the size of that spider. Oh, let's see if we're going to catch some more dinner. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Let's get out of here. Oh, yes. Look at what stands out like dog's balls on the beach here, and I've just spotted. The bright pink fruit. This is a lady apple, and these are the... Yeah, they are. That is huge. That's the biggest I've ever seen. Look at this, guys. Growing up in Papua New Guinea, they were one of our favorites. Absolutely beautiful. Called a lady apple or a bush apple. Full of all the good vitamins and stuff. And Jackie, what he was brought on the mission for was being able to search out for bush tucker. And these type of things is what would have kept the party alive. Look at them. I'm going to try and knock these ones down. See all the green ants on them? So of course fruits and bush tucker are just so important for the crew to basically keep up their energy. Oh yum. Reminds me of my childhood in New Guinea, tok pisin, and lau lau. Beautiful white flesh that you can just eat all of that, and that one big seed in the middle. Like apple with almost like a bit of a sour, kind of a lolly taste to it. Look at this. See how there's almost like running water coming from up here, running down, and just behind us here, there's a mangrove system. The mangroves need fresh water. This to me looks like there's a freshwater spring or a soak here that is running down. All the way down onto this, see this one kind of distinct mangrove little bay? I'm gonna have a bit of a dig here and see what I can find. It's wet straight away here. Maybe I haven't come far enough up, but we'll get a bit of a taste in a sec. We're at water straight away. And it's that real kind of stinky swamp, fresh watery smell. I'll just let it settle down and see if it is in fact fresh. It's just sort of digging itself deeper now. All right, let's have a taste. Yeah, that's fresh water. Holy dooly, that's fresh water. We've got a freshwater spring underneath here. Just tastes a little bit swampy. I'm gonna see if there's anything else around here which will give us better fresh water. But this is, I mean, this is what will keep you alive. Those fruit like that and access to fresh water. Here's something, have a look at this. Yeah, look at this. That's fresh water, guys, straight onto the beach. Look at that. I'll clear a little bit away so you can see underneath. Oh, look at the green ants. The green ants certainly like it. Holy
You do not want to touch that right now.
Fresh water coming up here, pooling there, and then heading down to the beach. I wonder how deep this goes. Let's keep walking and see what other streams there are. There's got to be more and more water source here. So heading this way, the signs of fresh water are getting more and more obvious. There's these grand paperbark trees, but then behind them, all these reeds, and you can actually see where after a bit of rain that the water floods out. Look, there's fresh water right there, fresh water. Getting better and better. There's literally just water flowing out of the sand here. That's incredible. I've never seen anything like this up this end of the coast. Just running straight down onto the beach. You take your pick of a little stream, sit under a shady tree, and drink until your heart's content here. Instant fresh water. If you wanted to be super safe with this, you could boil it, which would kill a lot of the bacteria that could end up making you sick. But I don't reckon our survivors had that choice. I've read about this, and this, I believe, is what I'm looking for. So the theory is that you can see how wet it is around here. This big paperbark tree will suck water up all around from the underwater spring, filters it up, and then in times of the dry season, it will then send that water up to the very sort of outer ends of its leaves that might need some moisture. And this is what it looks like when they store it. Let's try it, eh? There we go, look at that. You can see a bit came out anyway, but when I've seen it done, far more comes out. I don't want to damage the tree too much, but it's a good one to know. I'm sure Jackie would have known exactly which tree and when to do that. Can't really sit around for too long here. You literally just get eaten alive by mosquitoes, sandflies, or ants. Sorry guys, this is my dinner. So I know Jackie would have travelled with his own fire sticks, and these ones I've made in a previous survival episode of that beach hibiscus, just like we found today. But these ones came with me, so they're almost as important to someone as like their knife or something, the fire sticks to the Aboriginal people. Yes, tiny little ember. Got a tiny ember in there. It's a bit of a bloody mess, but I'm going to feed it with all this dust. So all this dust is what will build that ember. Go in there, mate. See that ember building? Then it's going to get hungrier and hungrier, and we just keep feeding it more and more dust. Well, we are definitely away now. Place this ember in some dead grass. Get off. Alrighty. Away. They're a really cool animal, aren't they, when you get a close look at them? As we saw today, they can kind of sit and just camouflage in amongst the sand like that. They've got their nostrils up the top just behind their eyes, so then they can bring the water in through there, and they use that mouth at the bottom to kind of shimmy their way through the sand and suck up any little prawns or crabs hiding underneath. Come right away from where I intend to spend most of my time here to take the guts out, because certainly don't want to attract any unwanted visitors. This time of the year the big crocodiles are very active, and I'm expecting to probably see some big ones over the next few days. I just hope I get to see them before they see me. As soon as Kennedy and his crew had embarked on their mission and the boat that dropped them there had left, their only way out was to go with the original plan. They had to go north. There was no turning back. Pretty quickly it became obvious and evident to them that what they were doing wasn't working. So fast forward about 4 months into the journey, and they were all sort of knocking on death's door in that they were just about starving, completely exhausted at this point. They'd killed all their sheep. Unfortunately, they'd had to kill their horses and even their dogs just for some food. Jackie, the Aboriginal tracker, he was doing his best. He was the only source of food coming in, hunting things like goannas and getting bush tucker and feeding the entire crew. But the decision was made by Kennedy there at Weymouth Bay that their only hope of getting further north quickly to the supply ship was if they split the crew. So out of the crew of 13, 8 of them stayed there at Weymouth Bay and just basically bunkered down at a camp. 5 of them continued north, including Kennedy and Jackie. But even for the crew that headed north, they were definitely the fittest, the strongest, the most able. They had their own troubles. Not long after they'd split the group, somehow one of the members accidentally shot himself with a gun, and obviously he was in a world of trouble after that. But they pressed north. That was their only way out, was north. Alrighty. These guys have got that nice thick skin on the top, so I've never actually cooked one on the fire like this, but I'm figuring just put him straight on top and allow the fire to do its thing. Alrighty, that's going to do him, I think. So this is the first one of these I've ever eaten, and it's quite interesting that they're like a fish coming up the back of the tail. All that meat looks like a fish, and then you come up to their flaps, and that's actually like how a stingray's meat is. It's quite stringy. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I'm not sure what I actually expected, but you've actually got a bit of both of them. And I reckon Jackie, Kennedy, and the crew, this probably would have been a pretty good, sustainable food source for them. We saw how many there were in the shallows there, and they weren't that hard to get. Let's see what they taste like. I'm gonna try the fishy part first. Look at that, good chunk of meat there. Yeah, it tastes good as well. A bit stronger than your average fish taste, but if you're starving, I'd be going for shovel noses. See you guys bright and early in the morning as this story really starts to ramp up a bit. More development overnight since you've last seen me. Is time of the year here, it's the wet season and storm season. Big storms are coming through, and the sailing boat I've got anchored. In these storms I need to be kind of moving it around, so that's what I was up to last night. So this time around I can't just get dropped here and basically survive for a few days. I'm sort of having to try to keep the boat afloat as well. All right, that being said, hope you enjoy the episode nonetheless. Let's go get some food. The tide has dropped out. You can probably see behind me here, this entire sand flat is now out of the water. And this is a really good time to look for some food in the mangroves. Let's go have a bit of a look, see what we can get our hands on. The idea is I've got to go in blind, tap around without him biting me, and get around to the back of his body and grab a hold of him. But I just don't know which way he's sitting, because if you go in at the wrong end, he will absolutely crush your fingers and crush your soul. Yeah, that's in there, isn't he? Big crab in there. I just can't quite work out which way he's sitting. He is outsmarting me. He's too deep in his hole. I just can't quite reach him, unfortunately. Let's go see if we can find an easier one. So in a couple of hours, all of this where I'm standing will be underwater as that tide rushes back in. But now it allows for a bit of a game of almost hide and seek, me versus the mud crab. And I'm hoping one of them has just been a little bit lazy and hidden himself in a pool, which can happen. I've got a few good mud crabs by looking in areas like this, and you just sort of tap around and all of a sudden the big claws come out and you're like, oh yeah, we're on. Oh yes! Hopefully we have similar kind of luck today. False alarm. No luck on the outside. Let's get deep in amongst it. Oh, there's a big splash. Don't like the colour of this water, to be honest. Let's get out of here. Certainly no place to try and tow a horse and carriage through, is it? Oh, back in the open. I'm not going real well, to be honest. Everywhere I look is just seemingly a bit of a dead end for me. I'm no closer to finding any substantial food, but I just got to keep pressing on and hopefully our luck will turn. Look at all the plastic and the rubbish. Let's see what treasures we can find. We've now popped out on the exposed side. Behind me you can probably see and hear the wind and waves coming in. You just never know what will wash in. Let's go have a look. And I'm also trying to get up there to the left to a pretty significant location in this story. One coconut tree has managed to get his roots down. No nice nuts on top of him, unfortunately. Oh, this is cool. Look, a foam mattress. I'm gonna test this woomer out for a bit of accuracy and just see how much power I can get. Oh. Got some serious penetration, so we're going for something that completely doesn't move and is this big. I got it this time. No, in amongst all the junk, all the rubbish, this would have been the most prized possession, a glass bubble. It looks like an absolute beauty, but smashed to bits, unfortunately. Okay, so continuing the story. So after splitting the group in two, Kennedy, remember, he's got 5 of his crew members coming with him, but things continue to deteriorate amongst the party. One of the crew, a bloke by the name of Costigan, has shot himself accidentally. So they need to split the group again. The only ones strong enough to continue are Kennedy himself and Jackie. And they continue north knowing that the fate of everyone on the entire expedition and the expedition itself is in their hands. They keep trucking it north. They get to this exact point here. They look out and they can actually see the mast of the Ariel. That's the ship that is there to resupply them and basically would bring the whole entire ordeal to an end. But one last hurdle. This river here stands between them and safety. And they know they're already well overdue, and it's coming into the dangerous cyclone season. So at any moment, the aerial boat really should be getting out of here. So Kennedy and Jackie head upstream in order to try and cross this river, the final hurdle, and get to the other side. Yes, finally come across something good. Behind me here, there's a little creek, a little inlet, and the tide is coming in, and all the bait fish are waiting to go further upstream. At this first log here, there's like a big school of mullet, and generally where there's a big school of mullet, there could be a big barrow or something like that underneath. This reminds me so much of a spot where I previously did a survival challenge. I was fishing off the bank, white sand, looked like this, and I caught a really nice, fish, and then like a second later, a crocodile popped up right on the edge of the river. So that just absolutely scared the hell out of me. And I was really, without playing it up, I was really close to being crocodile shit that day. Like my footprints on the edge of the bank, seconds before I stood down to unsnag my lure, that croc was positioned right there in ambush. So anyway, I used that as a wake-up call. I'm going to use a little fishing line in here. I know Jackie was very successful with the little fishing line. Hopefully I can catch something. Our luck might be about to change here. Oh, look at that. It just eagle clawed him. Perfect. Now that is going to be bait. Yes. We're going to see if we can turn this into a bigger fish. Something's on him. There's a silver flash just underneath him. Oh, I'm on. What's that? I'm absolutely on. You're on. What is it? Oh no. Oh mate, you've got yourself all tangled up. No, we didn't want to catch a shark. Oh, we've accidentally caught a shark. That's not the barramundi we're after. So, a little shark is definitely not what we're going for. I was hoping for a barramundi, but I bet you Jackie and the crew would have loved a little shark like that to eat. I need some more bait. Look at all these fish here. See all the shimmering? Oh yes, got one. How can I hit something little but not something big? I'm going to use these bait to try my luck on the line. Bloody hell, this is where I'm fishing. Look at this croc slide right up behind me here. Wonder when that was. That's crazy. Man, I've got to keep a better lookout. That's him there as well. I was literally just fishing here. I didn't see that. What an idiot. Now this is a decent sized crocodile. I'll tell you the thing which terrifies me the most about them is look at this. He's just slipped below the surface, and normally in these mangrove rivers where the water is brown and muddy, you completely would lose sight of him. But in this clear water, we can see him moving underwater without disturbing the surface at all. I mean, not a ripple, not a bow wave, not a bubble. And this is the scariest thing to me, that you just wouldn't even know he's there. So that flashback I shared previously, I still don't know to this day whether the crocodile heard me and came from up around the corner, or if he was actually just sitting right in front of me on the bottom the whole entire time. I don't know. Either way, it's bloody scary, and I'm going to be on high alert for the rest of my time here. There's some huge explosions just upstream, like huge, whatever that was, it was big. But this is, I get sort of disappointed myself a little bit here. While I was just down there fishing on that riverbank, and this is that croc slide. He's sitting up behind me, and this is the dangerous situation. If I'm on the riverbank looking down there, he's got a complete blindside. He can just hit me, even not a big croc with momentum, he'd get me in the water. So yeah, I've sort of disappointed myself there a little bit. I've got to keep a better lookout on both sides. Seems like there's a lot of fish that have just started feeding. Every couple of minutes there's like boof, boof, boof as a bigger fish is chasing all the smaller fish that are now up in this stream. Hopefully one of them picks my bait. Holy shit. Yes! Oh my goodness! It's a huge mangrove jack, a really nice sized one. Yes! Check that out. That is one of the best. Just got a mouthful of sound. It's one of the best tasting fish you could ever catch. I cannot believe my luck. Yes! Now that is a nightmare for any of these little mullet that are coming upstream, because they just hide in the snags like this right deep in the mangroves and will ambush anything that comes past. Big sharp teeth. Once they got ya, they ain't letting go. I'm just so happy with that. We're going to be eating well tonight. Now, I don't think it's any coincidence that's that crocodile slide right there. He knows where these guys are. Basically, that's the whole food chain. So as long as I sort of keep my wits about me, hopefully I don't end up on that food chain. So as Kennedy and Jackie were heading inland in order to try and cross this final river, the final hurdle, they're at an area similar to this, and they came across some hostile natives, hostile local Aboriginal people. It's unsure whether these Aboriginal people had heard about an incident previously where Kennedy's crew had shot a rifle and maybe believed to have killed one of these Aboriginal people. That's not totally clear, but what we do know, there was an ambush waiting at the river, and as soon as Kennedy and Jackie got here, the spears started coming. The spears started flying before they had a chance to react or retaliate. Kennedy himself had been hit by a number of spears. Jackie too was also injured, but he managed to fire his rifle, which spooked the attack. He then grabbed his good mate Kennedy and ran upstream. He was also injured himself, but he managed to escape the attack. Upstream, it then became evident that Kennedy wasn't going to make it. He had one spear lodged deep into his chest, and Jackie sat there with Kennedy in his arms. It's quite the picture, isn't it? As Kennedy basically laid out his final wishes, and then Kennedy died right there in Jackie's arms on the edge of a riverbank, not too dissimilar to this. In his final wishes, Kennedy gave Jackie his watch, his diary that he'd kept throughout the entire voyage, the maps, the notes and everything. And then there was one. The whole fate of the expedition is now on the shoulders of the injured Jackie. Close, but still so far from the finish line. Holy shit. I've just come back to base camp where I had that campfire last night. Can you guys see anything funny about this picture? That's where we had dinner, on top of those leaves. Check out this crocodile. He's come right up and nosed himself right up to where we had dinner. They've got such a good sense of smell. So this is him. Let's come up. You can see hands either side, his head there, and then he's just been looking at the fire and sniffing the dinner. Bloody hell. And then he's turned himself around, that's his tail, and slid back in the water. You can actually see his hands on the way down. This is that's his claw on the way down. Well, chances are he's here somewhere. He's keeping a pretty close eye on us, literally like half a meter away from where we had dinner. You can actually see the patterns underneath his chin. That's crazy, isn't it? That's what also makes this next part of the story just so chilling when you hear it. So Jackie, he's just lost his good mate Kennedy in his arms, and he's now basically traveling through the dead of the night secretively so the Aboriginal people don't kill him. And he gets a little bit further upstream, and he opts his only way across is he's got to swim. So he swims across this mighty river, the Escape River, swims across to the other side with the important diary and notes and everything. Just absolutely incredibly courageous to do that. But then of course the journey's not over. It takes him 10 days traveling through just intense country, mosquitoes, insects, crocodile, rivers and lakes, until he eventually pops out at the Ariel shipwreck there, just as they are about to take off and leave. All right, let's get him ready for the fire. I'll leave the scales on him so the scales can act like a bit of a barrier between him and the coals. And I'm just cutting a couple of slits in him, just so he cooks through some of those fatter bits. Should be just about ready. "15, 20 minutes, and then we'll flip him over." Look at that bit. These mangrove jacks are just so fatty and juicy. Look at that, just oozing out. Yum. Right, this is definitely ready. So once on board the ship, Jackie tells the crew, we've got to head south, and we've got to head south quick. And he plans to stop in at the 2 different campsites for the rest of the guys. The first campsite he pulls in, it's quite amazing he's even able to find them. You know, looking at a landmark from the land is very different from the ocean, but he pulls right in, he remembers the exact tree where he left Costigan, the bloke who shot himself, and the rest of the guys with him. Unfortunately, they were never found again, and no trace of them ever showed up. The ship then continued further south down to Weymouth Bay, where they'd left 8 of the crew down there. 3 of them managed to survive. The rest succumbed to their injuries. But these 3 men, they owed their life to Jackie's incredible skill set and courage and knowledge for basically coming back and saving them, and letting the world know the unfortunate misfate of the Kennedy expedition. Look how satisfying this is. Cooked to perfection underneath that. And I'm predicting this is going to be a little bit better than that shovel nose we had last night. Whew. Look at that. Beautiful, eh? Whew. I've got to let that cool down for a second. Now, mate, Edmund Kennedy goes on to become an Australian hero. He has an entire shire named after him. He's got roads, he's got rivers, he's got reefs named after him. And rightfully so. Back in that era, he became an Australian hero. But for me, the way I've always read the story, I reckon another bloke deserves to be a hero. And his name's Jackie. I reckon we should build him a statue up here somewhere. Oh, yum, yum. Now guys, if you enjoyed this episode, I've got good news. I've filmed plenty more of episodes like this where I'm revisiting the exact location of some interesting survival stories. You can watch that all in the playlist that should pop up now. Survival challenges with Strick or something along those lines. Massive thank you for watching, and cheers. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.